Hello everyone, my name is Tadios Marvin Porquez, and in this video, I'll be guiding you on how to create a functioning main menu, health and stamina bars, a pause menu, and a death screen. So, for the main menu, kindly go to your scenes folder and add a new scene by right-clicking on it. Let's name the scene to main menu. Since I already have done it beforehand, I won't be adding a new scene, but rest assured, I'll be guiding you on how to do it. This is what the end result will look like once we finally made our main menu. I'll be deleting these on my end and guide you on how to create the interface. On the hierarchy window, let's create a canvas. Once done, right-click it and add a text into it. If you already have a game title in mind, you are more than welcome to change the text according to your title. In this case, we already have a game title which is in a form of a PNG. So, I'll be deleting the game title text and replace it with a raw image and name it Game Title Raw Image. Now, go to your image file and drag the logo into the texture field. Now, let's begin in creating two buttons. Kindly right-click on your canvas and go to UI where you will see the button. Click it and let's name it to Play Game Button. Let's open it up by pressing the down arrow to the left of it and go to the text box where we'll change it to Play Game. Next to font style, let's bold the text to make it pop. Alright, let's now duplicate the Start Game button and rename the new button to Quit Game button. In the text box, let's just change the word Start to Quit. Now, let's drag the button down a bit and now we have the interface for the main menu. Next, let's add a script by going to our script folder and right-clicking on the window to create a new script. Let's open it up and as you can see, these are the needed lines of the code you will need to put into your script. On our fourth line, we are calling the Unity Engine Scene Management class to allow us to go to Manage Scenes and go to and from other scenes in the scene folder. In our Play Game function, we are calling the Scene Manager to load a scene with a number 1 on it. Later on the video, I'll be explaining what this number means and where it is coming from. In Quit Game function, it is telling the application to quit and allowing the users to leave the game entirely. Let's head back to Unity, where we'll be creating an empty game object called Game Manager. Now, let's drag the main menu script to the Game Manager object. Once done, head over to the Play Game button and under the button component, go to the OnClick function and click the plus sign. Let's drag the Game Manager object to here and click on the No function to add the Play Game function. Now, what this does is when the player clicks on the button, the Play Game function will be called from the main menu script in the Game Manager, where it will load the specified scene. Let's do the same with Quit Game button, where the player exits the application once clicked. Now, about that scene number I told you about, let's head over to Files, click the Build Profile. A window will pop up, and we will see this. Let's focus on the scene list. To you may see it as empty, and that's because you haven't added any scenes to it yet. So kindly click on the Open Scene list and click the Add Open Scene. What happens now is that your main menu scene will be added to the scene list with a number 0 assigned to it. And this is where that number you saw in the main menu script is referring to. It basically tells the program to load that specific scene from here. Now, let's add scene number 1 by going to your scenes folder and do the same with level 1. And there we have it. Now the program is able to load scene 1. Let's test the main menu and see if it works. Well done in creating the main menu. Next up, we will be creating a functioning health and stamina bar. First, let's create a canvas and right-click on the canvas to create an empty game object. Name it to health bar, then right-click on it again to add an image and name it fill bar. In the rect transform, click on this box here and head over to the bottom right corner over here. Hold Alt and press this box to allow the image to transform with its parent, the health bar. What this does exactly is when we change the size of the health bar, the fill bar will change with it. Let's revert the fill bar back to its original size and change its color to red to represent health. Once done, click the Add Component button and add the slider component. Uncheck Interaction, change both the transition and navigation to none, and after that, grab the fill bar game object and grab it to fill rect. Now it may look like it disappeared, but in actuality, the value of the slider automatically set to 0. So if we change the value, we'll begin to see the red bar moving to the right. Let's change the max value to 100 and drag the slider all the way to the max value.
Now let's duplicate the health bar and rename it into stamina bar. Let's also change the fill bar to green to represent stamina. Now we have both the health bar and stamina bar in our window. Next up is to create a script in our script folder and name it to health bar. You may freely pause the video at any moment to type down the code. On our fourth line, we are calling the Unity Engine UI class to allow us to manipulate the health bar and stamina bar. In our health bar, we have two functions called setMaxHealth and setHealth. What setMaxHealth does is when this script is being called from another script, it will get the max health of the player and set it to its max value. For the setHealth, on the other hand, it will get the current health of the player and set it to its slider value. Now let's head over to the player health script, where we'll be calling the health bar and its functions. This is the line where we will call the health bar script, and we will refer to this as health bar with a small h within this script. Now in the start function, we have called the health bar and its function set max health, where the player controls max health value is being used as the max value of the slider. Now in this line, when the player presses the letter K, the take damage function with the value of 50 will be called. If we go to that function, you will see the current health of the player will be deducted by 50, and that new value will be sent to the set health function in the health bar script. The opposite can be said in the heal function when the player presses the letter H, where it will add 20 to the player's current health, and the new value will be sent to the set health function. Now let's create another script called stamina bar, where you can just copy and paste the code from health bar and change the names of the variables accordingly. Now let's go to the player controller, where we will be calling the stamina bar script and refer to it as stamina bar with a small letter S instead. Similar to the health bar in the start function, we will set the set max stamina function to 1 float, and under handle dash we will add the set stamina with the value of 1 float below the can dash is equals to true line. Now in between can dash is equals to false and cool down timer is equals to dash cooldown line, add the stamina bar that sets stamina with the value of 0 float. Now let's assign the health bar script and stamina bar script to the respective game objects. And each of the slider field, just grab the slider within the inspector and drag it under the health or stamina bar scripts respectively. Let's head over to the player, and under the player controller script and player health script, drag the health bar and stamina bar accordingly. And now let's test it out. So when we press shift to dash, you can see the stamina bar is depleted. And when we press the K key, our health depletes by half. And when we press the H key, the health bar is being increased by 20. And that is all for the health bar and stamina bar. Up next is the pause menu. For our pause menu, this is what the end result will look like, where we have a pause text at the top, 3 buttons at the bottom. To create the pause menu, right-click on the canvas and add panel. Rename the panel to pause menu panel and set its stretch in the middle, where we can freely change the size without the parent object interfering. Let's change the panel size to a more pleasing look and add a text and rename it to pause text. Now let's change it from normal to title and change the border to 300. Let's change the text to paused and turn the text color to black. Now for the buttons, let's first add the resume button, bold it, and change the text to resume. Duplicate the button twice, and for the second button, rename it to back to menu button and change its text to back to menu. Rename the last button to quit game button and change its text to quit game. Let's create a new script and name it to pause menu. We first need to type in the Unity Engine scene management to allow us to manipulate the other scenes. On the 9th line, we are calling the game object, which will be the pause menu panel, and refer to it as pause menu with a small letter P. In the following code, we will call the player controller to make the player unable to move when the game is paused, and create 3 Boolean variables to check and make sure the game is paused, the cursor is locked, and if the cursor is visible. In our start function, we have time.timeScale is equals to 1 float, and we set the pause menu.setActive to false. This line will automatically make the pause menu not visible to the player unless they press the escape key. Now, in our update function, we have an if condition where if the player press the escape key, it will call either of the 2 functions, the resume game function and pause game function. Let's head over to the pause game function, where that is pause boolean variable
is set to true. In the next line, the pause menu has been set to active, where the player will now see the pause menu. Next is the time scale has been set to 0, where the game and its objects stops moving. Now the following code lets the player's cursor be able to be seen and move around the pause menu interface. The code after is where the player's character stops moving. Without this line of code, the player will still be able to look around despite having the game paused, which is an undesirable result. Now for the resume game function, it basically does the opposite of the pause game function, where the isPause variable and pause menu.setActive has a boolean data of false. The following code basically makes the cursor lock to the middle and invisible from the player, and the code after makes the player be able to move. Back to menu function, it will ask the program to load a scene with a number 0, which is the main menu, and the quit game function allows the player to leave the game. Now, let's add the pause menu script to the game manager object, where we will need to drag the pause menu panel and the player game object to the respective fields. With that done, let's head over to player controller, where we will create a boolean variable called isPaused and set it to false. We will use this variable in the setPaused function, where it will receive another boolean variable from the pause menu script and assign that data value to the isPaused variable. In the update function, where we have a specific line of code where if the isPaused variable is true, it needs to return, creating a loop where the line of codes below will not be executed unless otherwise. In the handled mouse look function, the same line of code can be seen performing the said actions in the update function. Now let's go back to the pause menu panel and go to each of the buttons where we need to assign the functions in the pause menu script to the onClick function. After that's done, let us now test it. And that's it for the pause menu.
In the next video, we will be covering assets, such as asset import and replacing primitives. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.